the whatever you've experienced and whatever you have encountered, if you see that as something which becomes the testimony to release yourself back into it, but also other people into it, then that's the image of planting those testimonies, those encounters in your own garden, in your own heart, watering it with the river of life, commanding it to grow, and it produces a tree with fruit. So you can go back to that fruit whenever you need, take it, give it to other people, embrace it yourself, which then gives you access to go into those realms. It's like the previous encounters become an anchor for those encounters so that we don't lose them. And the more you revisit the encounter in meditating around it and thinking about it, then the more fixed it becomes in our memory, and then the easier it is to re-access. Quite often people have had encounters, but they only had them once and they forgot about them and they didn't really do anything with them, and so the memory gets lost, and therefore it doesn't become an anchored experience. Once it's an anchor within your memory and is stored there, it becomes then a doorway that you can then go through again and again and again. So, you know, I've developed pathways that took me, you know, quite a long time of practice to develop them, but now they're instant. You know, so the more I trained my senses to follow that pathway through the previous engagement, and I revisited it, meditated around it, sometimes going back into it, but sometimes just rethinking about the encounter and asking for deeper revelation of the encounter. What was it for? Where was I? You know, what was going on? That enabled me to build a pattern of heaven. So I've got a map of heaven of all the places I've been, because I went back and sought revelation about where they were, what their function was, what was the purpose of it. And I actually quite often got greater revelation in the process of seeking God about what it was about than I did in the first encounter, because in the first encounter so often I was so blown away by what I was seeing and experiencing, I wasn't paying full attention to everything that was there, or the different it was almost like I was just, wow, too much sort of overload. But when I went back into it, because I did journal everything, when I went back into it, then I began to get a connection with God in it that opened up the door to having greater revelation and understanding. Now, having practiced, you know, going through an inside-out way of opening the first love gate and going through into my spirit, soul, and into the garden of my heart and outwards, you know, that now is an instant thing. You know, I've used the illustration recently. When we're building a house, we need to put up scaffolding to enable us to reach to the roof level, if it's a single story or even a double story, to put the roof on. Once the house is built, you don't need the scaffolding anymore. So the exercises of building the pathways are like the scaffolding on a house. They help us build the house, but then we've got to live in it. And so once you've established these pathways as yours, then you just live in them. So now, going in through the realms of heaven, where I needed to learn how to yield as a living sacrifice, which gained access into different realms of heaven, you know, that took me a while, and I used to spend maybe 45 minutes at a time, you know, going through the process of a living sacrifice and to engage the ark. Now I can go straight to the ark, you know, because it's my pathway. I've engaged it, and I can go straight there. I can go straight to my mountain by thought, without having to do any of the things I used to have to do to develop that pathway for me. So now that makes it so much easier and quicker. You know, it's, you know, because I can by thought think of the place I need to go and go there. Whereas before I was practicing getting to a point of getting to around the ark of the presence of God, and there I would be looking to engage in the will of God for my day or for any particular thing I was doing, then that would then lead me to where I needed to go next, depending on what I received there. And so but now I can get to that place, and now I've got to that place quicker. I'm spending more time around the ark, engaging in the four faces of God, engaging in what is being presented there in the glory of God, it being manifested, and aligning myself so that I can step into and speak out of the four faces of God in any particular time. So it's like I come in my priestly function of wanting to stand as a man in the presence of God, and as I step into that, then I get engaged with the lion or the ox or the eagle, and I begin to see from that perspective and begin to speak from that perspective, which then has opened up a whole different realm of revelation, you know. And the more I've spent time around the name of God and engaging with the name of God, the more I've found that has released destiny and released in my heart the desires of my heart that have then drawn me to go to other places and to embrace that and outwork it, you know. So it takes time to make sure that you can engage where you need to engage, but it's really worth spending the time so that all our encounters don't become involuntary and just we don't know where we're going and what we're doing, we just have to go with the flow. It's great to start like that, but actually we need to get to the point where we are co-heirs and working with God in administrating his kingdom, rather than, you know, it's okay as children to, you know, he'll hold our hand and he'll take us places just like we did with our own children. You know, it's like when I had children, I wouldn't let them out on the road until I'd walked with them and shown them what to do, crossing the road and how to do that. And God does that with us, but it gets to a point where we have to go and do it ourselves. And so we need to be able to access everything and every realm of the kingdom to administer the kingdom through our mountains and our spheres of authority in a governmental sense. And that does take some time to do it. But now, you know, it's pretty much instant for me. So, but it took me quite a long time to get to that point where I could engage, because all those places are now part of my house, if you like, that I live in. So I live in those dimensions because I've built them into my life, you know. And so now I don't need the scaffolding unless there's another story that needs to go up. Then I'll need to do some more things. And some of it's like that. You know, I was just sharing with another guy, you know, that I had an encounter with the Galactic Council, and that was just like, whoa, now this is a whole different dimension of things. I'm going to need to learn some more stuff, you know. And so there's times when you get almost like a turbocharged experience that then causes you to think, I need to learn a whole different engagement protocol with this because this is different, you know. But God often does that, you know. He will, when you're at a point where he wants you to move into something new, he will often take you to an experience that causes you to then pursue something and go with that, you know. So yeah, you know, the encounters you were sharing is great, and just keep pursuing them, but look to re-engage so that they become a regular access point for you and doorway, you know. And we can start off using the Word of God as an access point. You know, Revelation 4:1, hey, there's a door open in heaven, come up here. I'm going to respond to that in faith, and I'm going to come up, you know. And so the Word is a doorway, but then our word that's in us becomes a continual doorway, future-wise, because we have to create it and form it within us so that it's the truth in us that enables us to engage by faith as we go further forward, you know. But anyone's having the encounters, that's a great starting place, because you have something to work with. You know, it's those who are not getting the encounters that you have to really start with it just opening up the eyes of the heart and those things to help people get the encounters to start with. But once you're getting them, you know, you have something to grow and to build on. So it's all good. Yeah, so it's good stuff. Okay, so it's hi. Let me yeah, just unmute it. I can
Hi,
do it.
Mike. How
Oh
you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, you okay?
Yes, I'm doing good. Actually, I was listening to your teaching. Really good. I did have some encounters, but it's been more like what you just explained a couple of minutes ago. Just like open the gates of my of first love and inviting the Lord to come in and taking me to places. I have not done too much the one that I choose to go. It's just like more worshiping and just spending time with the Lord and He taking me to different places. But I did have like something interesting happen like a couple of days ago. I decided to go to the courts to repent for some issue that I was having in my family with my son and all that. So I decided to go to the courts as a priest and intercede and ask repentance for him and for me and then releasing some stuff. And after that, I decided to, well, I feel led to go to the mountain, the family mountain. And I saw like a dragon in there.
Yep.
And then I remember I hear one of your teachings about when you encounter a dragon, you're supposed to cut the head and the tail and the Bigfoots or whatever. So I didn't think. I just saw like when I saw the mountain, I saw like fire coming out of the entrance of the mountain, and I was like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it must be a dragon." So when I went in, I just took the sword and I cut the head and I cut the tail and the toes, and then I opened his belly. And when I did that, it's like coins or like some type like coins,
Yep.
treasure came out of the belly. And I was like, okay, I don't get it too much because my whole function was to go and repent for something between my son and I. And when I went to the mountain, all this treasure came out of the belly. So because I didn't know too much what to do, I say, okay, well, let me call the angels now to come and to protect this mountain. So whatever is been taken out of the belly of this dragon will be safe and keeping the mountain of the family. And I claim finances. That's what I did. I claim finances. I thought that, okay, this is money and finances that I've been praying for a long time. Must be that. So I claim it. I put it by faith in the treasure chest. And then I call angels to come and to protect this place. I mean, I didn't know too much what to do. That's what it came to my mind, and that's what I did. And then, just in case, what I did is like, and I call for the blood, and I paint and cover all this place with the blood inside and then outside. So it was basically all by faith, but I hope I hope it was right. I mean, I'm just learning, so I don't, you
Yeah.
know,
I
I just
mean,
want
yeah, I mean, when it comes to those things, as you say, those things that come to your mind, do them, because that's how revelation comes. It's a flow of spontaneous thoughts that come to our mind that we need to capture and do immediately. And there's no right or wrong way in a lot of these things. It's the way in which God gives to us to do it. When I've had coins or things come out of dragons, there are various things that you can do with them. You can eat them, take them within you so they become part of you. You can go and trade with them on the trading floors, and you can trade that for multiplication of that. You can do what you've done. You can store them there waiting for future use. It isn't like, oh, there's only one way of doing anything. There's multiple ways, and so God will inspire you to do what you need to do. And you did great in terms of killing the dragon, and because some people, when they first see a dragon, get intimidated. Actually, you didn't. You just responded, hey, I know what to do. I'm going to use my sword and kill it. And so that's great. It's all good. learning experiences, because it's much better to have an experience yourself and learn in the experience than it is to, just try and use someone else's experience. So I would say that's great. You did good. Yeah.
I have another question. You were talking about, I guess, the mercy seat. When you go to the heavens, you go to the mercy seat. I guess that's what you mean. Um, I would like to know more about that. Because the only thing I can relate that is like I remember one time as I was worshiping too. I went to heaven, and the Lord, I was in the throne with the Lord and with Jesus, with the Father and Jesus, and like the Father was like presenting me, like I felt like He was presenting me in front of everybody. And then I told the Lord, "Do you want to show me something?" And He took me to a back room, and in the back room, actually, I saw the mercy seat, but I don't know if it's the same thing that you speaking, because for what I saw, it was the mercy seat with the blood on it, and the blood was alive, and it was light, and it was noises, like the blood was alive, and He was showing me it's alive, and it was like this
Yeah.
light coming out, and and I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, like whoa. I mean, look at, and He's like, and He's interceding continually. He's alive and He's interceding continually, but it was like a box, and the blood was on it, and it was these angels with the big wings, but He was not sitting because the blood was on it. So is that the place that you mentioned, or is
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, I know you say you go there every day, so I would love to know more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the tabernacle, in terms of an earthly tabernacle, that was patterned after the heavenly tabernacle, and there is a actual place which is that tabernacle in heaven. Now, heaven itself is also like patterned after the tabernacle. So you have the outer court and the inner court and the holy. So you go into where the throne of God is in heaven, and so there's different realms and there are different veils. And when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, the way and the truth and the life for us is like, okay, we'll try and understand what that means. At the time, the people knew what that meant from the perspective of that was the veils between the different parts of the temple. And so the way was the outer veil, and then the truth and the life. So the life was the veil between into the Holy of Holies where the Ark is. So you have the Ark of the Covenant, which is there, and that when Jesus went back into heaven, He cleansed the tabernacle with His blood. You can read about it in Hebrews, because it talks about it a lot there. And so He went and opened up a way for us to come to that place. And so His blood is continually on that mercy seat. In the Old Testament, they brought blood once a year. The high priest came with blood once a year to atone for the sins of the nation, whereas Jesus, as our high priest, has gone in Himself with His own blood, and it is alive. You're absolutely right. It is living, and it's what gives us access there. And in a sense, when we go into that place, we begin to engage with it, it opens up the manifest presence of God that comes from between the cherubim, and when I first went there, it was like God sort of He uses illustrations to help you engage. So when I went into there for the first time, it was like there was only one cherubim looking into the presence of God, and I was all, what's going on? And He said, well, that was Satan's role as Lucifer, the light bearer, and he gave up that role. And so God is looking for someone to come and take his place and look into that. So, the two wings form an arc, which is ARC, which is where the presence of God manifests when we begin to engage with his name. And you can look into that, and you can begin to see into the eternal things of God, and then begin to reflect them off, because Satan had stones, 9 colored stones on his body, that was to reflect out into the universe the revelation of what he saw when he looked into the presence of God. And so I know Ian Clayton uses the illustration of, like, when they're saying holy, 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 what they're saying is almost like, wow, revelation, fresh revelation, and then they would then release that revelation out. And so that means that we can come and we can get revelation around that place of the ark of the presence of God. Now I engage much more around the 4 faces of God, because the more I've gone there, the more what's there has sort of opened up into deeper revelation and experience with the lion and the ox and the eagle and the man, and speaking out of that place. Just as Satan reflected out the glory of God in the aspects of the 9 stones on his body, we are there also to bring the reflection of that out through us. And so in alignment with our destiny, and for me on a daily basis, I want to come into resonance and harmony with what's coming and being released from that place in terms of what's his will for me today. And so it's a place where I think we need to spend time, and what you've seen in terms of the blood and it's an expression of the life of God, which is alive. His blood isn't dead. It's living, and it is continually effective in bringing us forgiveness and cleansing and righteousness all the time. And it is constant intercession, so that we've always got access to come on the basis of his blood, not on the basis of our works. That's why we can always go, because he's made the way open through his flesh as a veil to enable us to go in to that place. And there were 3 things in the ark. There was the manna, there was the tablets, and there was Aaron's rod that budded. And those 3 things, how God explained it to me was, Jesus said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me. And he talked to his disciples when he was at the well of Sychar, and he said, I have food that you know not of. And so I always equate the manna with the will of God, which is, my food is to do his will. So that satisfies me if I do his will. So I literally want to go and take that manna to have the revelation of what his will is for me each day. But also, as I spend time drawing near to him, the tablets represented what he wrote in terms of the covenant, but now it says that he writes that on our heart, on the tablets of our heart. And so we can have him unveil our destiny and reveal the desires of our heart, which will draw us again towards those things that he's calling us to do and have. And so the ark is a amazing place to be, and it's in the realm of heaven. There's also the throne room, there's the temple, there's the fire stones. There are other things in the realms of heaven, but that's the key one to engage in, particularly in the Holy of Holies there, because it is like a square room. That's what it was. It was a square place, and in it was the Ark of the Covenant, and we can engage with it. Yeah. So anyone got anything else?
I have a question, Mike.
Yeah.
An experience happened after our session a couple weeks ago, and I was asked to intercede and pray for someone who was in ICU. And I went in the spirit there to that room, and interacted and did what my spirit did. Coming back to this realm, in front of me appeared this square, this dark screen. In the center were, in silver, three faces, the lion, ox, and eagle that kept morphing. And then all around were Hebrew letters in silver. This time I couldn't read it. Once that happened before, I could read the Hebrew, but it was also ancient Hebrew, the ancient symbols. And I couldn't understand it. It was going fast. I couldn't read it. And it just left me very perplexed.
Okay. Well, in those type of encounters, if you feel, perplexed, or that, then it's that to go back to it, you remember it, go back and meditate on it, go back and seek God around it. I would take an encounter like that into the secret place of my own heart, into the garden of my heart. I would sit with him, and I would look to sit at his feet, and I would talk to him about it, and I would ask him, what were those symbols? Why was it that I couldn't see the symbols? And was it because he wanted me to pursue him to find out what the symbols meant, what the picture meant? Obviously, you've got three of the four faces of God, which is about the governmental side, lion, ox, and eagle, about the governmental side. Maybe because you didn't see the man side of it, then that was what your role was, to actually present the alignment with heaven on earth. So we come in a priestly function to agree with the lion, ox, and the eagle, which is the three of the government of God. And so we open up a window of heaven for that manifestation to come through, because we form the fourth part. Quite often when I engage that myself, and when we go in as a bench of three here, we go in representing the lion, ox, and the eagle, and we get revelation of scrolls, and we see things that then we bring back into this realm, and then find the fourth agreement with our group of seven, so that we again open up that for manifestation here. So when you look at those type of things, you have the three faces, which talks of government. There's something missing because the fourth face wasn't there. Why? So those are the things I would look for when I have an encounter like that. Why wasn't it there? What was the significance of that not being there? Then the Hebrew symbols, you felt there was ancient Hebrew. Okay, if it's ancient Hebrew, what's the significance of that? Is this something that is part of the ancient knowledge, that's part of ancient paths that you need to engage in? And as you sort of meditate around it, just do exactly the same sort of process that I've just gone through, thinking about it, sitting at the feet of God and talking to him. You just say, what's going to flow? You see a spontaneous flow will start to come, where it will give you the revelation you need to understand what the encounter was about. And then if you need to go back into the encounter, because often these encounters are you get some of it to start with, and then as you pursue, then it further unfolds. You may find that the symbols become something you understand and know, because you've gone back to it and you've given the time and sought God about it. And it's very much like, Jesus taught in parables, because he wanted to see whether people would look at beyond the obvious meaning of the story into what is the kingdom realm meaning of the stories in this. And so anything like that I'm thinking, I don't understand this fully, I just go back and then I seek further revelation from God about it, and often that's what I'll get, and then it usually leads me off into something else. Okay, what's the purpose of that? What is that revelation for? What do I need to do with that revelation? Is this something that I'm called to engage in? So I'm called to engage in the ancient paths, this ancient language, and the symbols of that language. Is there significance in the individual symbols, or is it just significant that it was ancient and that you need to pursue what it meant? Because sometimes it's like, things aren't always allegorical and every single thing you see has a meaning. It can just be, okay, what was God trying to get my attention with here? And then he will give you on further revelation as you pursue it and go back to it. I would say from that, you're looking to bring some sort of alignment and bring those ancient things into your present experience so that you can to release it. But as you seek God yourself, I'm sure he'll show you more about it. But don't just ever leave something feeling perplexed. Always go back and pursue it. And even if you can't go back into the encounter, you can use the memory. I was talking about it earlier, to anchor that experience and then become a doorway into greater experience. Which is what we all want. We all want to go deeper and higher and engage further into the things of God in those ways. So, yeah, it's good.
I mean, I tell him all the time that I'm perplexed, and he always just smiles and says he teaches me through perplexity. So, I mean, he likes that. He likes leaving me in that situation.
Well, in one sense, it keeps us dependent on him. But on another sense, he does want us to pursue, and I think it says somewhere in Proverbs, it's the glory of God to conceal a thing, and it's the glory of kings to find the things. But they're not hidden from us; they're hidden for us to bring us revelation. But some people find symbolism easier than others. I find symbolism really easy because I've spent so much time in the Word and things that, I find interpreting dreams and things just flows because it just does. Now, that's maybe just my gift and whatever, but other people have different ways of engaging in things like that. So, yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to do some engagement of stuff and maybe go somewhere in the realms of heaven?
I would like to. I don't know everybody else.
Okay. All right. Well, what I would encourage you to do whenever you sort of look to engage is really just to relax and just begin to fix your thoughts on him, fix your attention on Jesus and just relax so that your spirit can begin to engage and access some of the realms of God in heaven. I think it'll be good maybe just to go into Eden and experience some of that pathway of relationship, because that's always the source of our life. And it's great understanding the mountains and ruling and dragons and that stuff, but the source of our life that flows through us and out of us comes from heaven through that pathway of relationship. So it's good to explore some of the things there. And what I would encourage you to do, if you feel you want to stop anywhere on that journey and you just do that. Just stay there. Because we'll go on a journey and we'll follow a certain pathway, and if you feel you need to go off somewhere or God is leading you somewhere, just feel free to pursue where your spirit is going to take you. All I'm really doing is wanting just to open up a doorway so that you can then find the engagement and look to encounter that yourself. So we haven't got an hour and a half to just chill out and do it, which is what I would tend to do if I had a personal encounter with a group of people that face to face. We would just do that, but we've got a shorter period of time, so I'll just sort of open up those realms for you, and then just feel free to encounter those things, because it will be very personal to you. So I'm never really that descriptive, because you need to find how it applies to you and how God shows you. But it'll be good to go to some of the places, so we'll just do that. So I just wanted to encourage you, just close your eyes, and initially just look at the whole thing of, we're going to open up the first love gate. That first part, Jesus is just knocking there. We open up that first love gate, and his presence just comes and surrounds us. So you can just feel, as you reach out and open up the gate, just feel his presence just come around you. Feel the light of his presence, the power of his presence. Just feel his affirmation and his love for you as he embraces you with light, as he touches your heart in a fresh way. Now what we can do is just step back through the door that we've just opened and follow that pathway back into the realm of heaven. So I just want to encourage you to let Jesus take you by the hand and just take you back through the dimensions into the realm of heaven. And we're just going to engage there and just feel the atmosphere. Just begin to just breathe in the atmosphere of heaven, breathing the colors, the fragrances, the senses, the feelings of heaven. Just begin to breathe that deeply in as you stepped into a new realm. Now I just want you to now look and see the river of life and see the light and the energy and the life that's in that river. And I just want you to just go into that river, just start to engage the river, look and see and feel the flow of the life of the river of life as it flows into you. There's no resistance, it flows through you. You can go under the water and breathe because this is life. You can look at the light that's reflected. Look at what's within the river. You may see things on the bottom of the river that you can go and reach out and take. Just see what God has got there for you. That river flows from the very throne of God, from the temple of God, and is the source of all of our life. And it flows out of heaven, flows through the gate of first love, flows through our garden, into and out as rivers of living water that flow around us. So it's a really key place to learn to drink and to receive the life and the energy and the vibrancy and the resource that that river contains. Now that river flows through the realm of the garden of God, and you can begin to walk in the river, and just look around you. In the distance there's waterfalls, there's mountains, there's life all around you. I want you to look to your right and see the waterfall, which is cascading down. And you can come and stand under that waterfall and just feel deep calling out to deep, as the deep things and the frequency and the resonance of the deep things of God just flows over you and through you and touches the deep things within your spirit. Just hear the sound, feel the energy. Now we can just go up that waterfall. Just sense your spirit just lifting you up. The water just flows through you. It's flowing from the heart and life of God. So just allow yourself to float up. And begin to sense the pathway that's alongside the river. And you can get out of the river and then just walk on the path. And that pathway is living. It's alive. The vibrancy of the color, even the ground that you stand on, releases life and sensations and frequencies and feelings and emotions to you as you walk along that pathway. Up ahead, there's a bridge over the river. And Jesus is standing there, inviting you to come into the realm of God's presence in his garden. And he encourages you and looks deeply into your eyes and encourages you just to hand all the burdens, the weights, the responsibilities, the things that you've been doing, the ministries that you've been carrying, just cast them all onto him. Just allow him to lift every weight of expectation or responsibility from you, so you can just walk across the bridge and just walk into the garden of God's presence. The Father is there. Just sense the wonder of that place as the Father welcomes you to draw near to him. Now, I also encourage you just to look around, and there is a waterfall that's flowing again down into that garden. And his invitation is to go up that waterfall, to follow the river of life. Just sense there's an expectation of what's up that waterfall, the very presence of God. So just begin to flow up, and as you get to the top, look ahead, and I would encourage you to see the tree of life is in the midst of the river, and just walk towards that tree. Notice the scrolls of leaves that are within the water, and if you're drawn to any, feel free to take them. And just as you approach the tree of life, again, sense the vibrancy and the energy and the colors and the fragrance. And just see the fruit, and just reach out and take some of the fruit that you're drawn to and eat it. As you eat it, just sense the sensations. Feel it imparting to your innermost being. Now we're just going to walk through that life and follow the river. So as you walk through, look ahead. And ahead of you is the throne of grace, with God seated, welcoming you with open arms to come to the throne of grace. Now as he reaches down, he lifts you up and places you on his lap, your head against his breast. Feel his heartbeat. And just release to him your deepest needs, the things that you need help for, that you need a flow of mercy and grace. Just release those things to him and feel the pleasure within his heart for you. Feel his embrace the warmth, the love, the depth of it. It cocoons you and surrounds you. Just feel the liberty, the freedom that's coming into every fiber, every fabric, every atom of your being. The freedom to be you. The freedom of His grace flowing through you. Just sense it. Now He wants you to come to Him as the lion, and He wants you to have no fear as you approach the lion and the horizons and new vistas of opportunity that you feel in freedom, that you're released to see new things, to feel new things, to embrace new things. Just look into the eyes of the lion and see the depth of the freedom there is as he releases you to that kingly, royal identity that frees you into the realm of rulership. Just embrace that freedom. Now he wants you to rest. So he is laying down and he encourages you just to rest on him, to enter that place of deep, deep rest. You are protected by the lion. You feel so safe and secure. Just feel that security, that safety, that sense of rest flowing through you and around you. Just feel the wonder of it. I really feel he wants to take you to a new level And he wants you to engage with wisdom. So he wants you to come to wisdom's heights. As you enter through the veil, you're just surrounded by the atmosphere of the heights. It's enveloping you, surrounding you. But you're at the place where the paths meet. I want you to look at wisdom, feel her call to you, calling to the sons of men, calling you to embrace your destiny in rulership. Just look into her eyes, sense that place. The wealth of wisdom and understanding and counsel that she has. Feel her desire for you, her longing for your presence that she would impart deep into your spirit, an unfurling of your destiny. That she offers you a door to go through, that will take you to a new level. Believe that she just wants you to engage in the court of angels and to take your destiny and draw assignments from the angelic court to be released around your life, to go before you, to prepare, to open the doors, to engineer circumstances as you begin to walk into your destiny. See the angels aligned, ready to align themselves with assignments to your scroll. Sense their joy in engagement and participation with you. Now just let Jesus take you by the hand and just bring you back. Through the dimensions. To the garden of your own heart. And just feel what you brought with you and release that creatively into your garden to create. And as you take it to your secret place, just know a deeper sense of release in your own heart. And I would encourage you just to go by the river of life and just plant a testimony of your encounter and water it and speak life to it and see the growth and the fruit of those testimonies of today that will become the anchors of those experiences for you and the doorways for future experiences. Just sense that flow of life within the garden of your own heart as that garden grows and expands, as its connection to heaven through the river of life just flows and increases in flow within you. Now we can just step back into this realm. Ooh. So, how did you get on? Feel free to share anything or not as you want.
Wow. That was amazing. Rebecca, are you sharing?
I don't know, whoever
Well,
wants to.
Yeah.
is it on now? Okay.
Yeah.
When I saw wisdom in the heights, the doorway was like the letter Aleph, like a letter, like God. And she gave me a scroll and a key. And I stepped through the door. So I did what you said. I took the scroll internally and I kept it. I don't know what those things are, but it is the first time I've seen that. So thank you very much for helping me to obtain that.
Okay, you're welcome. And some of these things now you just go back, step through back into that, and and seek greater revelation from it, and as you go forward from it. So yeah, it's good. Does anyone else like to share?
Yeah, that was amazing. I had never seen that second waterfall before, and I did get an opal, two opals. I'd never received opals before. I had a light one and a dark one, and I kept those. And when I saw the lion, I actually sensed I was a lion. I've had that experience before, but I was surprised that I wasn't that tiny cub. And even when I saw wisdom, I was still a lion, and she was very playful and roughing me up and things. And then when the door, which was very large, it was a huge door. I was a little. It was like I was a little girl again. I mean, a little child. And it immediately opened up to stairs, which I had to climb like a toddler. and I kind of went. It opened up into a platform of the cosmos, and the angels were all around, and that was really interesting.
Good.
You know, that was really interesting.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. How did you go through it? Did you engage anything in there?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I kind of overwhelmed right now. Uh, it was good.
Good. Excellent. Very good.
Um, what really touched me was wisdom, because I've been asking for wisdom to help me with my destiny. So when I saw wisdom, she was very kind and very sweet. The way she looked to my eyes, and she gave me the feeling that everything's okay.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you now.
Good.
So that was like a wonderful relief. And then in the end, we were in the garden after we planted testimony next to the river. I saw the flooding of the river increase, like whoosh, like it was like the water increased like even in force. And and I was actually looking into it. I was like, wow, look at that river. It's like increasing in force and more water is flowing now. So it was really awesome. And actually, when I saw Winston, she didn't give me nothing. We were just talking. We went to the door, and before you mentioned we were in the Council of Angels, I noticed that the room was very bright, full of light, and I was trying to figure out where I was. And it kind of looked like a library too, like maybe a lot of books and papers in there. And then that's when you talk about the angels, and then I saw the angels and they were excited, like you say. Um, but I did got a scrolling piece on the river. When I was in the river before we went to the waterfall up, I was looking into the river, and that's when I saw the scrolls and the keys, and I thought them.
Good.
Yeah, so it was really nice. Thank
Good.
you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, everyone's experiences are different, and everyone's experience is supposed to be different. And so, just embrace the things that you've seen, and I'd encourage you to journal those things, and then just begin to draw from them, more, because if there are scrolls that you've picked up and stones that you were given and different things in those encounters, we only touched on them, because we haven't got that much time. Normally, I might spend half an hour on one place so that you can really embrace that and you get lots of revelation from it. So go back, just see those as just the starting point for those different things in the future, and so you're going to get more and more as you engage in those places. Okay? Okie dokie.